Welcome to Tiger Chainsaw Interviews. These exclusive interviews will give you a behind the scenes retrospective mixed in with some amazing secrets of your favorite games and franchises by the developers and creators of them. Now, if I have filmed the interview, you'll be able to watch it. Otherwise, it's a phone interview, so just sit back and relax. Now, I have done some incredible exclusive interviews with some amazing gaming legends in this community. So hit that sub button to make sure you don't miss any of those interviews. Alright, let's get to our interview of the day. So it looks kind of like in 2001, you received your first credit in video games with Half-Life. What was your journey into the gaming industry and kind of what were you doing before then?
I was adjacent to Half-Life pretty much the whole time. Like through high school, I was working on Counter-Strike sort of on the side and then Dave Defeat on the side. So I was like aware of like Half-Life modding, and I get brought on for Counter-Strike Condition Zero as a contractor at Gearbox, like as a texture artist. I don't know, like it's interesting. Like Half-Life for PlayStation 2 is my first credit, I guess, because I took the pictures on the back of the box, and I was a tester on that game. But yeah, me and Half-Life go back all the way to the beginning, I guess.
Okay. So when was the first time you heard about the Borderlands project and kind of what were your initial thoughts on it?
Well, internally at Gearbox, we had sort of, because I was still working on Brothers in Arms franchise at that time, Brothers in Arms, Hell's Highway. Borderlands was a game that started under the tutelage of one Matt Armstrong, and Jimmy Sebin worked with Matt to sort of create the. God, this is so long ago. I hope I'm not getting any of these facts wrong. He created I'm trying to remember the name we use for the gun system. Because the cool thing about Borderlands is that 100% of the guns are loaded in memory all of the time. Okay. And it's just one gun with a million different parts on it. But I remember that technology being so like fascinating and sticky, because like what that did was that if you open a chest, all the guns are loaded into memory, so you could actually like see the physical. That seemed like so like mind-blowing at the industry in that tech, because that's like 2007 2008, right? Like we're not ready for that. I've been working on another project that never surfaced, so I don't even know if I can even talk about that one. But I came over to what?
I said, feel free to talk about that one if you wanted.
No, that would be a mistake. I came over and I remember there was a sentiment among sort of the existing Borderlands team and Randy Pitchford and Brian Martell at the time about wanting to lighten, like wanting to emerge as a sort of own. Because if you remember at that time, people are kind of like, we had done previews for Borderlands and the realistic art style, and like people are printing articles about how we're sent to die. Like, because you have Fallout 3, you have Rage, you have like a post-apocalyptic soup of games. And that, like, as I come over, I remember like talking to some people and like, oh, you want me to kind of touch up the script and like visually do some stuff, and we'll go from there. I remember this moment. I was playing it because like we were just trying to get a feel for the game coming over like a year and a half before it ships at this point. And I remember playing it and I lit someone on fire and like all this like wild stuff had happened. And I was like, oh, this game is funny. This is a funny game. I really have to go to the bathroom right now. I'm so sorry. That is not part of the interview. Give me 1 second.
You're good.
Movie magic. I'm right back. Where was it? Oh yeah, funny game. So I come over and my first sort of thing to do on the project is imagine some intro like sequence, which eventually became the rock and roll intro. But I remember me and Richard Jessup, a very talented level designer and scene director, we'll call him. We just kind of work over the weekend to a Johnny Cash track.
Oh, okay.
And like the skag like walking in and getting destroyed and the music punching in, that was all kind of there. But we'd worked all weekend and we had something really cool. And then Randy Pitchford comes in just to check on like how it's going. Because like if people are working overtime, he is generally there. But he comes in and he's like, I just heard a song on the radio. I think it's the track. And we're like, okay, this is going to be like a Weem Away or something again. But he had been listening to the Adventure Club, which is a local radio show in Dallas. And he heard this band called Cage the Elephant.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is the track. And we listened to it once and we're like, that is the track. That is the track. And we finish up our little like kind of test rock and roll sequence, introducing all the characters to a very rough state, but we get it in the game. So like the team comes in on Monday morning and they see it. I remember Matt Armstrong, the director of the game at that time, coming in and being like, oh, I get it now. Oh. So we all kind of like use that as like, this is the game. Like, have fun. Don't think about it too hard. Just enjoy yourself was kind of, I think but I remember the rock and roll intro was the first thing that was like, oh, this is the game.
Yeah. Okay. So
does that sorry.
No, that was perfect. That was a great answer. As the associate creative director for Borderlands, what exactly was your role? What were your day-to-day duties with it?
I mean, okay, so it was like, I guess you could say I was sort of a connective tissue guy, which I think was always sort of because we needed load screens, we needed cool bosses, because like the bosses were all kind of simplistic at that point, which is where the freeze frame comes from. I was watching Rock and Rolla at the time, and I was like, that right there. But yeah, I did all the load screens in After Effects. I did all the freeze frames in After Effects, which basically was like, go to the designer for that boss, like see, like you basically like you have to get like a scene of the character, one frame, pull that out, do Photoshop things. It was all the dialogue. I kind of just rewrote the game. And I remember the moment it clicked for me in writing was because like me and Randy stayed up all night on like a Monday or Tuesday. Like this all happened so fast, but we get an office together where I'm rewriting like his words, not mine, bad dialogue. Like he was like kind of temping in stuff and I'd give it like the Tannis and I remember really enjoying it. I mean, it was like extremely what's the anxiety inducing. It was like a lot of pressure, but it was fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm broken in that way. But yeah, I like it. It all happened like so fast, and it was like everyone fed each other. So like you see this piece of art, you like, so a seat of the pants kind of the game, but everyone is doing like work at the highest possible. I don't know. It's interesting to look back on and be like, how did this occur?
And it was such a success too, doing it that way.
It took a long time for that game to be, because it was like 2 years, which is the longest sales tail of all time. Because it was never like a big hit like Borderlands 2 was. Borderlands 2 was like boom hit. Yeah. Borderlands 1 was like, at what point are we a hit? Like,
yeah, it got that cult following and it just kept going and going and going.
Yeah, I want to say it's somewhere between 8 and 10 million copies just of that original.
Yeah.
You.
So did the characters or the plot come first in Borderlands as as far as the creation, did you guys kind of build the plot around the characters, or was the plot created and then filled in with the characters?
The plot is such a like the machinations are all like sort of classic literature sort of stuff, like an ancient tomb can only be opened every 200 years, that kind of it like started there. The original plot of the sort of more serious art style game was that like the reason all the bandits are wearing orange is they were prisoners and they all escaped when all the prisons shut down, which is like really funny to think about now, because like, why are they still wearing orange? No, it's funny. That's can you ask that question again? Like,
No, you're fine. Did the characters come first, or did the plot come first?
The plot, as it were, of like Big Vault, that all happened before the art style change.
Okay.
Because it was always essentially what it was. It was more of a tone switch than a plot switch, I guess would be a way to sort of say that. But the characters, 3 of them existed because it was originally a 3-character sort of game. Lilith, Mordecai, and Roland. Brick came along with the art style change,
okay,
which came from Brian Cousins and Brian Martell, I believe. Don't quote me on that, or do. It's fine. But the answer is plot.
Okay. That answers it. Can
so
you
many years ago?
Yeah, no, for sure. Can you take us back to the offices at Gearbox during that era? What was the atmosphere like, and kind of what was your desk like?
My desk had a lot of Dr. Pepper cans on it. I remember that. I don't want to say like uncertain, especially when you could compare like what Gearbox is now versus what it was then. I mean, we had shipped a couple of popular World War II games, Brothers in Arms. We'd done the Half-Life expansion stuff. So we were like coming into our own, I feel, but even at that point, I felt like Gearbox to this day never gets like credit for stuff. I don't know, like maybe I'm going too far off the rails, but I feel like the games media can be quite cruel to Gearbox for no real apparent reason. That is not the answer to the question. I've already forgotten. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
2022. We're just talking about whatever. Let's go.
Yeah, no, that's how it works sometimes. What was your desk like, and what was the atmosphere in the office like during that era? Like, did you have goofy coworkers? Did you guys?
Oh, for
hang
sure.
out afterward,
my recollection is that it was a very collaborative, goofy time. Like you go off of World War II games where everybody's like, my brother has perished. Like everyone's like really like just at a 10 on Tumblr all the time. Whereas Borderlands is like, no, games are fun, have fun. And I remember it was probably the most collaborative experience of my like game career. Just everyone was excited about what everybody was doing. Like my desk is covered in character sketches and like boss layer sketches, and like it was funny because like the first thing I remember like really landing like title card wise was Nine Toes, because we had done that sort of Skagoli section of the game, and that ends with Nine Toes, and that's like the first boss you fight. And I remember there was an argument between a couple artists because I was like, I need like a catchphrase. I need like a little sentence, like, boom, here's a fact about Nine Toes. And it was Tim Wilson who was like, he has 3 balls. And I was like, that is correct. Like, also, he has 3 balls. Like, yeah. I don't know. It's just, it sticks with you in a way that games don't. You learn 2 facts about him in like 5 seconds where you're like, but I always thought Nine Toes was like the cleverest character because his weapon drop never changed. His weapon drop was the gun with the blade on it. I did the fire one, but that's what he dropped the gun and lopped his toe off. So then he became 9 times. I'm like, this is clever. This is all clever.
Borderlands has really good humor. That's one of the best aspects of the entire series is that signature humor.
Yeah, it was so collaborative with everyone too. Like the game design became a joke, you know, like put design things to think about in the game that are funny, and then you can draw them in another. I don't know.
Yeah. What would you say? Was the development of Borderlands a smooth process, or was there any struggles along the way? And if so, you know, what were some of the issues that needed solutions?
I mean, that's every game. Like every game is a struggle and a process because the difficulty of making literally any game ever is the questions you don't even know about yet, like the unknown unknowns. And in a game that is like start to finish one experience with one inventory that has millions and millions of things in it, that can lead to bugs, because like a bug in a specific weapon, right? Like you have to track that down over the whole game for every question. Like it, yeah, if anything, Borderlands was like, oh, this is what the future of QA nightmares look like. I mean, it was sort of forward looking in that way, I think.
Let's see here. So Borderlands, you know, it's built on some amazing characters, huge personalities. For you personally, what would you say your favorite character in Borderlands 1 is?
Tannis, no pause.
And why is that?
I mean, like it's funny, like seeing decisions you make at the time sort of reflected from you like 14 years up the road. Because I had not talked to this is going to be as in the weeds as possible, but like I'm sort of explaining it from a 2022 perspective. I wanted to write a character that was on the spectrum in some way, not knowing that I am on the spectrum in some way at that time. So it was interesting, like writing someone who is very like, this is the way science works. I am a science person. And then slowly taking away their sanity. Cause like, that's what happens to Tana. She's just tortured over, you know, years. And like, she becomes acutely aware of the fact she has gone criminally insane. And she's very like analytical of that. And I found that idea just like, I don't know. She's the most fun to write.
Yeah. Excellent character.
She dated a tape recorder. And it was mutual.
Very forward thinking. You know, is it humbling to have worked on a game that sparked such a massive franchise and that's still going on today? You know, how do you feel? I guess this is a separate question, but let's do the first one first. You know, is it humbling to you to have worked on such a massive franchise that started it all, or a game that started a massive franchise?
Yeah, I mean that is very humbling to have worked on like what at the time was like, all right, we're gonna try to sell 2 million copies of this thing. Let's get the word out. And seeing like the legs it has, I think there's no better place to feel successful about Borderlands than PAX. Because like when you go to see fans of the game, the cosplayers and everyone, like it's just hundreds, if not thousands of people. That is incredibly humbling because it's like things you wrote 9 years ago have affected this person's life over that period of time. Like you can't not be humbled by that.
Yeah. It's really cool because, you know, that game has created so many memories for so many different people. You know, my wife and I, we play it maybe once every 2 years. And, you know, those memories that we make together, is because of that game. So it's just a really special experience that we all have because of that.
Can I tell a funny story about my future wife?
Yeah, let's hear
my partner. So I did not realize. Do you remember? It was a Kotaku article, 2008, I want to say, where I had tweeted like, "Hey, if you send me a picture of your receipt, I'll play Borderlands with you when it comes out." And Kotaku wrote an article about it, and then suddenly my like 20-person list became 3,300.
Wow.
Yeah, I basically took a week off work and just played Borderlands with people and gave them loot and stuff. But one of the groups I encountered was an achievement hunter group, and they were just like day one trying to get every single achievement. And I couldn't give them loot because we didn't have commands in the game to give me loot to give to you. So I was actually just like running around trying to find as much high level loot to give to people as possible. And I get in this group that is like 20 levels ahead of me, who started playing the game a day early. And one of the people in that group was named Tara, and we met in that group. She was an achievement hunter, and they gave me loot to give to other people. But that's technically, like, we didn't know that's how we met. Like, it was just the thing we realized later. Like, wait a minute, you were that person, and I was that person. But yeah, she was a huge Borderlands fan.
That's pretty cool. That's how you guys met.
Yep.
What are the chances?
She gave me loot. She gave me epic loot.
That's all you needed.
Purples or go
home. Let's see here. Oh, how do you feel about the story direction of the series? And would you have envisioned anything different with the overall plot as far as how the series is going now?
Well, this question comes up a lot. I worked on 3 for a number of years. So like I was happy with it. I mean, like, everyone makes decisions differently, right? Like, but I worked on 3, and I really liked the direction that it was going. Yeah, I know a lot of people were mad that Maya died. That was my bad. I killed the ace. The ace killed the ace. Sorry, everyone.
Is there anything cool or any hidden secrets that haven't been discovered yet in Borderlands? Or is there anything that you can share with us that makes the audience go, wow, I never knew that? It could be inspirations or designs or anything like that in the game that's not well known.
I mean, I feel like most of it is known about, because like Borderlands is a game series where I have married 2 people on stage at PAX. I have eulogized a person, Michael Mummerell, that unfortunately passed on. Like it's such a like far-reaching thing. Like, I feel like all the biggest moments of my life practically come from that series.
So this is my favorite question to ask because I get such unique answers. But what's that one memory that you will never forget when you look back on your time helping create Borderlands? It can be, something funny, something serious, or just that vivid feeling that you will always associate with Borderlands.
Scooter is a literal thanks Obama. I guess I should elaborate. So like we didn't have like a ton of money for recording. So a lot of the voices in our game were just us, Randy, David Eddings, me. Like, a lot of people were bandits, like Steven Strobel. But we're in the booth, and I was like, oh, I could play a mechanic. I'll just, do a little mechanic like this, very serious. And I remember everyone was so fucking bored in the store. Like, I look up through the glass window recording this, and everyone is just like asleep. And I'm like, okay, so this character sucks. And it's just for no reason whatsoever, I went, Obama. And like immediately upon saying it, they start laughing, and I'm like, okay, yelling shit at Scooter is funny. And that it literally thinks Obama is why Scooter happened. Everyone was bored, and I just started talking like this, man. Shit, what's going on here? What are you doing? And that is a character. That's how stuff happens. Thanks, Obama.
So you're Scooter?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know that? You were interviewing me and not knowing that? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm Scooter. Randy is Crazy Earl. David Eddings in the first 2 games was Claptrap. Steven Strobel was the big bandit. I'll never forget his voice. Get over here.
So you're responsible for yelling "Catch a Ride."
Oh, yeah. That was actually like on the original script that Randy had put together. It had been like, hey, you need to make Catch a Ride sing-songy. And I didn't even, because like, get it stuck in your head. And I don't even know what that means as a note. But just randomly at one point, I was like, Catch a Ride! Like, just hold it. That is how things happen, I guess.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow, that's pretty cool. Okay, so I've got one last question for you. I read the article about you surviving a terrible stroke at only 29. I believe that was in 2000.
One terrible article. Sorry.
What?
I was going to say that's. I was like, which life-threatening article about me have you read? Because there's so many.
Oh, it was Kotaku or
yeah. No, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
But that was in 2011, right? So
2009.
Oh, that's okay. So it happened in 2009.
I think it's right after Borderlands. We were playing Left 4 Dead in the office, and I fell down the staircase.
Yep, I remember reading that. So, what have you been up to since then? Are you still in the gaming industry? Are you doing different creative things? What are you up to these days? Anything that I can help plug?
Yeah, if you want to plug my YouTube show, Movies of Mikey, it is a film YouTube channel we started 8 or 9 years ago, where we wanted to bring some positivity to the video essay space and like talk about what an art moves us and works, as opposed to just every video is everyone is bad at art but me, the critical art boy. I have to drink because movies are so hard. Like, whatever.
Is there are you still involved in the gaming industry at all?
Yeah, we've done contracts for different people, including Gearbox. I did the Borderlands 3 announced trailer, like the big trailer. I did that in Gearbox. That was really fun. But I retired in 2017 to become a full-time YouTuber just because I physically couldn't do it anymore. I had a pretty scary hospital stay in 2017 where my body just stopped.
Wow.
Wasn't doing stuff no more. And I was like, body. And then I was on bed rest for 9-10 months. So,
wow.
I experienced 2020 psychologically before everyone did, which is how I look at it.
So you were everyone's support system during 2020. They could come to you and ask, how do I get through this?
Play Breath of the Wild. It is like going outside, which you cannot do anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did an episode on Breath of the Wild for Movies of Mikey in 2017. I don't know. I'm really 2020.